Have you ever known someone who thinks they know what's best for everyone else? Let me introduce you to Emma Woodhouse. She's described as handsome, clever, and rich, living a comfortable life in the small town of Highbury. After her beloved governess, Miss Taylor, marries the kind Mr. Weston, Emma takes all the credit. She believes she orchestrated the whole thing and decides she has a real talent for matchmaking. The only catch? She has absolutely no intention of ever getting married herself. Why would she? She's perfectly happy as the mistress of her father's house, Hartfield. With her governess gone, Emma feels a bit lonely and decides she needs a new project. Enter Harriet Smith, a sweet but rather naive young woman from a local boarding school. Harriet's parentage is a mystery, which makes her a perfect blank canvas for Emma's social ambitions. Emma takes Harriet under her wing, determined to improve her and find her a suitable high-status husband. Her first target is the local vicar, Mr. Elton. Emma encourages Harriet to refuse a marriage proposal from a respectable farmer, Robert Martin, convinced that Mr. Elton is a much better match. All the while, there's a voice of reason trying to break through Emma's self-assured bubble. That voice belongs to Mr. George Knightley. He's a longtime family friend, Emma's brother-in-law, and the only person who ever dares to criticize her. He warns Emma that she's playing with fire, that her meddling in Harriet's life will only lead to heartbreak. He sees Robert Martin as an excellent match for Harriet and tells Emma she's being a snob. Of course, Emma brushes off his concerns. What does he know about romance? Well, it turns out Mr. Knightley knows quite a lot. The whole plan with Mr. Elton backfires spectacularly. During a carriage ride, a very tipsy Mr. Elton confesses his love, not for Harriet but for Emma herself. He assumed all of Emma's efforts were for her own sake. Emma is horrified and swiftly rejects him. Humiliated and angry, Mr. Elton leaves town, only to return a few weeks later with a new wife, the pretentious and insufferable Augusta Elton. Emma feels terrible. She completely misread the situation and has now ruined Harriet's chances with both Mr. Elton and Robert Martin. Just as this drama settles, two new, intriguing figures arrive in Highbury, shaking things up. First, there's Jane Fairfax, the beautiful and accomplished niece of the town's kindest, most talkative resident, Miss Bates. Jane is elegant and talented, but also very reserved, which Emma finds rather annoying. She suspects Jane has a secret. Then there's the charming and flirtatious Frank Churchill, Mr. Weston's son from his first marriage. He's been raised by his wealthy aunt and uncle and is a breath of fresh air. Frank immediately starts paying a lot of attention to Emma, and everyone, including Emma herself, begins to think they might be a match. The social season is filled with parties, dinners, and a good deal of gossip. Frank Churchill's behavior is particularly puzzling. He flirts openly with Emma, but also seems to have a strange, almost cruel, connection with Jane Fairfax. Tensions simmer beneath the polite surface of Highbury society, and it all comes to a boil during a picnic at a local spot called Box Hill. The mood is tense, and in a moment of careless cruelty, Emma publicly insults the ever-harmless Miss Bates, mocking her for being too talkative. The fallout is immediate and severe. Later that day, Mr. Knightley confronts Emma. He is furious with her, not just for her snobbery, but for her cruelty. He tells her how much Miss Bates, a woman of little fortune and social standing, looks up to her, and how deeply her words must have wounded her. "It was badly done, Emma," he says, and his words hit her like a ton of bricks. For the first time, Emma is truly ashamed of herself. She sees the arrogance and thoughtlessness of her actions. This is a major turning point for her. She goes to apologize to Miss Bates the very next day, determined to become a better person. Just as Emma is trying to sort out her own moral compass, another romantic delusion crops up. After Frank Churchill's flirtations end, Harriet Smith confides in Emma that she has a new object of her affection. Based on a few kind interactions, Harriet is convinced that Mr. Knightley is in love with her. Emma is stunned. Mr. Knightley and Harriet? The idea is absurd, but it forces Emma to examine her own feelings, and what she discovers shocks her to her core. The thought of Mr. Knightley marrying anyone, especially Harriet, is unbearable. She realizes, with a sudden jolt, that she is in love with him. She has been in love with him all along. The secrets of Highbury finally unravel. Frank Churchill's wealthy aunt dies, and the truth comes out. He and Jane Fairfax have been secretly engaged for months. His flirtation with Emma was just a cover to hide their relationship. This news explains all their strange behavior. Soon after, another secret is revealed. It turns out Harriet Smith is not the illegitimate daughter of some nobleman, as Emma had imagined, but the perfectly respectable daughter of a tradesman. Freed from Emma's high society ambitions, Harriet reconnects with her first suitor, the farmer Robert Martin, and they happily become engaged. With everyone else's lives falling into place, Emma is left to deal with her newfound feelings for Mr. Knightley, convinced she has lost him forever. But she's wrong. One afternoon in the garden at Hartfield, Mr. Knightley, believing Emma is heartbroken over Frank Churchill, begins to comfort her. As they talk, he confesses his own feelings. He has been in love with her for years, watching her grow and change. He loves her despite her faults, and perhaps even because of them. Emma, overjoyed and relieved, accepts his proposal. They decide to marry and, in a very practical arrangement, Mr. Knightley agrees to move into Hartfield so that Emma won't have to leave her elderly father. And so, our meddling matchmaker, who swore she would never marry, finds her own perfect match, not by scheming or manipulation, but by finally learning to understand herself. Thanks for watching our story summary today. If you enjoyed this trip to Highbury, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more literary adventures. See you next time.